Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. We are back with Season 6, Episode 3 of Realm NFT, where I give you whatever strategies I can come up with between now and last week, and then also give you my progress and then any other tips that I can think of or that I hear from other people. It's been about a week since I have gone through and did an update, and the season's only been around for 1 week and 2 hours, and I have to say my progress for this week has been crazy compared to the last couple seasons. The strategy that I'm following has really helped, and for you, those of you that missed last week's episode, I do have to give the caveat that the strategies I'm talking about this season are not beginner-based strategies. They're a little bit more advanced strategies. So if you're looking for the beginner-based strategies and tips and tricks, I would highly recommend checking out my Season 5 of Realm, where I focused really big on the beginner side of everything and the beginner approach from early all the way to end game. This season we're focused on I want to call it the mini whale, the more advanced approach. You do have to spend some RLM, you have to buy some boosts, things like that, types of approaches that people that have been around a few seasons, that I think it would be very helpful for you. Last week I talked a lot about the early game strategy, how I really approached the early game of this season. Today we're going to talk more about how to get the most out of missions when you're running those and preparing for those. Again, I am not perfect. I make mistakes. So if you are watching this and you see some things that you think I could adjust, please go ahead and comment down below. Let us know. Or you can go ahead and DM me. I've had a number of people DM me through the seasons and provide some awesome advice. So I really appreciate that. Let's start off with my progress, and then we'll talk about some of the tips and tricks to get the most bang for your buck out of missions. All right, first of all, right now, I am ranked number 20th in the Gold League. I do have to say, before Christmas, I was all the way up to rank 12 at one point. Actually, rank 11. I was right outside the top 10, but know very well that I don't have the resources or the time to go ahead and break into that top 10. So I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. Over Christmas, which was yesterday, I'm recording this on Monday. You'll probably see this on Tuesday. But Christmas, I didn't get to check it at all, so I lost about 8 spots over Christmas. Today was very limited because we still have some family in town. So I'm right now at rank number 20. Expected by tomorrow morning to drop a little bit, but I can see me staying in the 20 to 25 range, I think is my goal. Overall goal is to get in the top 50. But I'd like to stay in this range. Maybe next season we'll push a little bit harder and try and get top 10. I'd love to be able to compete with some of these guys, but to be honest with you, most of them have platinum, whether it's one platinum leader or they have multiple platinum leaders. Obviously, once you get into the top 3, they're all platinum. They have legendary equipment, which is all stuff that I don't have. So I won't be able to compete with them. But I'm making great progress compared to this point last season. This point last season, I think I was 140th in the Gold League. So I was definitely struggling at that point. But I learned a lot, and I'm hoping to pass on what I've learned to help other people out in the future. Obviously, it's going to make the league more competitive for myself and for everyone else. But I think it also helps, and it makes it more interesting. So in addition to my overall ranking being the 20th, let's talk about how far I've gotten, what I've done so far. When we did the last video, I was in Asia, and very close, actually getting pretty close to North America. I've also made it down to South America, and as you can see, I'm level 18 and will be level 19 probably by the time I go to bed tonight. Again, this is Monday night that I'm recording this. So I'm making a lot of progress, and probably Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll be in Europe. So huge progress, and a lot of it's a couple things that have really helped me, and I mentioned them last week. First of all, I focused on research and technology center quickly as possible. I'm not fully at 15 level on all of them, but I'm getting very close. Once I get there, I'll go ahead and remove this and then replace it with something else. In addition, I focused a lot on research. I got it to the double research as early as possible and have been pumping out the research nonstop since I made the research center. So that's been a lot of help as far as speeding up the process. In addition to that, the double building. The one thing that I didn't really realize until last season, if you go ahead and do the permit, you can go ahead and double build in each of your regions, and that speeds up as quickly as possible. Like I said, I'm 1 week into this, and I have this South America almost completely built out because of the double building. It's really sped up my production and just everything else. So it's been a huge help. As far as some of the tips that I have, some of the things that I want to mention as far as the missions go, one of the big things is, especially early on, you don't have the helper space and the housing to really stash away a lot of your helpers. So you have to rely quite a bit on just producing them as quickly as possible, just so you can run missions in the top regions. One of the things that I have done this season, and I didn't do it last season, and again, this is a little bit more of an advanced approach, is I have multiple of every single helper. Actually, that's not a good spot to go to. I have multiple of every single helper. I have 3 of each one, except for the cyborgs. I only have 1 of each of the cyborgs. I don't run them a lot early stage because I'm trying to finish up my technology center. But as soon as I get my technology center available, I'll run the cyborgs, at least the silver cyborg, a whole lot more, just because I have the titanium to spend. But I have 3 of every single helper. So you can see that I right now only have 3 training facilities going. I will have more in the future. Once I get to Europe, I'm actually going to put a whole bunch of training facilities there just to make this process much quicker. So what I do is I find the regions, or the highest region, the highest ones. For example, I need soldiers for this one, and I need police and legal advice for this one. So what I do is I go over to my training facilities and I just plop in 3 of them. If I had 4, I would add another training facility and I'd go ahead and run 4 at a time. It speeds up the training process for your helpers so you can run more missions faster with a higher amount of people. So that's been extremely helpful with speeding up the early process. Again, I'm a little bit more advanced because you have to go out and buy them. Most helpers go for between 30 and 40 wax. So depending on your price range, you have to really find what works for you. In addition to that, I took the advice from others. I always have 2 economists. Obviously, when I had 2 regions or 1 region, it was less than that. But I always have 2 economists running, which really reduces the cost for my my helpers, and producing those and training those. So that helps a lot. But I also have professional there who speeds up the process. And recently I've been running just my trucker out there as the 4th slot. Once I get to Europe, I'll go ahead and move the trucker down here and run 2 professionals. The trucker just helps continue to produce the resources that I need in order to run as many training helpers as possible. Plus I'm trying to get my ships up so I can get some extra bonuses there. But that's another thing. And when I run my missions, now that we have this new cool swap feature with the leaders, I go ahead and I swap over to 2 generals and 2 hackers. If you're not familiar with hackers, I wasn't before really this season. I dabbled a little bit with them at the end of last season. But hackers give you a bonus on all your mission rewards. So you get additional reputation just by having that. Plus, if you have them, if you have the people that you're running missions with, business cards, you get even more reputation bonuses. So that helps out quite a bit. Plus, the general actually reduces your requirements and how many helpers you need to run missions. So that's a big help. Take advantage of the leaders in the new swapping system. Set up teams, basically your training team, your helper training team, which will consist of economists and professionals and even truckers, depending on your what you have available. And then your mission running team, which is generals and hackers and maybe some explorers, or however you want to handle that as far as with your speed goes. And then I also have a building team, which includes my politician who reduces the cost of building, and then my scientist who reduces the time frame it takes for research. So I really have 3 teams that I run with leaders. And it's really helped out. The swapping features helped quite a bit. Actually, swapping features have probably been the best thing that they've added to the game, especially recently. It gives you a whole nother level of strategy that you can go ahead and use. Right now I focus. Another thing that will help you out with missions is I usually, again, this season I've really started focusing on, I usually only run generals and truckers as my leaders out on missions. Generals are the best because they give you the highest capacity of troops or helpers that you can run with them. Truckers are also pretty high too. The only challenge with these is they're expensive. I was lucky enough to get some of these in packs, and when they were a lot cheaper, so that's helped quite a bit. But I also I mentioned this in previous seasons, I run them with business cards and the navigation. I think the navigation is better than the metal detector. Just my personal opinion, I like the faster mission runs rather than just getting a few extra. That's why I put the two hackers out there. They give me the extra rewards that a metal detector would, but this speeds up the missions. I run missions in half the time that they would normally take. So I think all those combined has really helped me rack up the reputation that I earn on a daily basis. I do have to admit, the first couple of days I worked from home, so I had the availability to go ahead and run missions whenever I needed them. When I'm in the office for work, it's a little bit more of a challenge, but I can still do it with the app on my phone. So that's helped a lot, and I front loaded. Like I said, I was up to rank 11 right before Christmas. And I've dropped quite a bit because I haven't been available much over the last few days. So let me know in the comments down below, what additional tips would you give out if you could, for running missions to get just the best bang out of your buck, and best production you can from missions. I forgot to mention one. Daily missions. Do these. They're not that hard. They're challenging. They take a lot of resources, but if you follow the other steps that I mentioned, where you can actually produce, you can focus your production on certain helpers, and you have multiple helpers to do it, they're not hard. I'll knock this one out before I go to bed tonight, which will easily give me the level. You just have to. You're going to fail a lot. Some days you're going to get super lucky and succeed at 5% success rate. Other days you're going to run the mission like 5, 6, 7, 8 times. It's just the luck of the draw, but it's a huge amount of reputation. I just ran the other daily quest right before I started this video, and I got a piece of equipment. So that's a nice little reward you get from it. It wasn't huge. It was a common piece of equipment, but you can blend them up to higher rarities, which is great. Just little things that you can do on a daily basis, running missions and preparing yourself really to increase your ranking and get better. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you have any other tips that I may have missed? Where are you at this season? I know some people with the holidays, it's a little bit more of a struggle. So I'd love to hear where you guys are at, and I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.